I think I should actually start every video by thanking all the people who got me to where I am today. So you're looking at a list of YouTubers that I watched before I even bought a printer, and then after I got a printer, I watched everything they did. So thanks to all these people, especially 3D printed tabletop. Now, on to supporting the body of the Hive Colossus, the Umbra Hulk proxy. So rotate around, look at them, head's done. You know, we did that on the last video, and we know that's going to print perfectly. So now we're on to the big boy, and this obviously is going to be a lot more challenging. There are a lot of pointy things pointing in different directions, so obviously we're going to have a lot of supports. So I don't want him flat. I'm going to tilt him, because even though I'm not going to tilt him much, though. See, a lot of people would say 45 degrees. I'm going to tilt him, it's only about 10 degrees, because I just want to make sure that his feet are not totally flat, so the whole bottom portion doesn't print at once, because I have to support everything at once. This way I have little anchor points. So to me, the key is always how you anchor your model, because those are going to be heavy supports, and those initial anchors are going to help hold up the whole model, although in this case both arms are pretty big and they're not going to be anchored by the feet, but we'll deal with that later. This video today is really, this part is going to deal with anchoring the feet and the body and all the placement on those. And otherwise the video would be too long, so I'm going to do the arms in a separate video. It'll be the next one I do after this. So first I'm just mousing over it, just giving myself a general feel for where the islands are going to be. So people ask me about my settings, so let's talk about it. My light supports I've altered so that the contact diameter and the contact depth are minimal, 0.12. You can actually go down to 0.02, but I actually think that'd be totally pointless. It wouldn't even support a few pixels, I don't think. But at 0.12 diameter and 0.12 depth, you have zero damage to your model basically when you pull these things off. My medium supports I've also altered. If you compare your settings to what you're looking at on mine, I've also altered the contact diameter and the contact depth to much lower figures. So again, when I do want medium supports, I want something stronger than those lights. It is going to be minimal damage to the model. I don't mess with most of the settings except the contact depth and diameter. So you look, even on my heavies, I've lowered them pretty much below what anyone else would tell you. Everyone would say, hey, minimum contact depth on any support should be 0.4. No, even my heavies aren't there, and my models don't fail. So the people who give you that conventional wisdom, they are absolutely just wrong, or at least they're wrong when it comes to miniatures. So now you've seen what my settings are. Feel free to copy them, try them out how they work for you. They should work fine, since I print 24/7 for the last 5-6 months, and I have very, very few fails. So first thing we always do after we've tilted our model back is we're going to use heavies to anchor the first few pixels that come out, right? Those are the most important ones, obviously. They're going to be holding up all the initial portions of the model. So I will pepper that first layer or two, and I don't like the way this one came out. It's kind of over the edge, which I don't like, so I'm trying to reposition it. I think it's just in an awkward spot, so I'm going to get rid of it and just start again. It's no big deal. Okay, let's reposition. Now that one looks good, right up to the edge. I like that. So now I'm just going to pepper these first few layers with heavies so that there is no chance of a fail early on. Because if you fail early on, obviously you're screwed, and you wouldn't even notice that till 30-40% done with this model when it comes out of the vat far enough for you to see it, and you'd have already lost probably 2 or 3 hours of your time and some resin. And even worse, to me, the worst thing is having to take my vat out and clean it. Because I'm very cautious with this stuff and I don't let my models fail, I very, very rarely have to clean my vat now, which is really great, because cleaning the vat, as you all know, is messy and annoying and time consuming. And anytime you're scraping stuff off your FEP, you're worried you might scratch it or puncture it or anything like that. So printing without fail, some people might look at my videos and say, you know what, I think this guy's using actually too many supports. But if you can use extra support so your model doesn't fail, it's worth it. Now, in these toes, these are not islands, but talking about not failing, I'm going to support them with these light supports since they won't do any damage. I'm going to support the hell out of them because I don't want any fail. I don't want this to come out and the toe is missing, or it's a flat plane and looks weird. So it's always better to over support than to under support, obviously, especially if you use the techniques I'm showing you here. You're going to hide most of your supports. So even you over support it, it's not like you're ruining your model with lots of pits and holes and bumps. So first I'm starting on the base plane of both feet, and then we're going to move up to those other islands you saw higher up on the legs. So same thing here, I'm using heavies. I'm going to pepper the whole first few layers with heavies so this thing can't fail. then a few heavies to anchor it even further up. And then I'm going to polish it off by using those light supports. I didn't use heavies here even because these are still going to be totally out of sight. They're going to be on the base itself. Now I'm going to bring in my lights, and even though these aren't islands, I'm going to support them. I'm giving them no chance of failure. A print this size, I don't want to come back 9 hours later and something's wrong, something's screwy, right? So keep going with these lights and support the hell out of these feet. Even if the bottom of this looks chewed up when it's done, you will never ever see it. It's going to be glued onto a base. No chance of even seeing this. So now we're going to start moving up the legs. Sometimes I just mouse over the whole model just to get a general feel of, where I should be looking later. It kind of stores away in my brain. And then I look at the model from the side and make sure I don't see anything hanging down like this and say, whoops, you know what, that actually should get a support right there. So I'm going to start there. So every now and then after you're working from the bottom, to me is the most efficient and expedient way to operate, actually, to see the island, just click them. But you always want to go back to the side view of your model and look and just see, did you miss something glaring, something jumping out at you? Now I put one there, but now look, it's way too close to the foot. This is going to bond to the model if I don't do anything. It's going to bond, and when I break it off, it's going to break off a piece of the model. So this is where those advanced techniques come in of using your edit tool, and we're going to click the base of the support and just move it away from the model. Now there's no chance of it bonding. I'm going to rearrange the top also, by the way. As I told you in my other video, when you move the bottom, it does change the contact point a little bit. So always go back and change it. Now I'm going to add another light here because I see kind of a big area that's going to print at once, and I want to support it. Now I'm going to move the base of that light. Now I've got that area really nicely supported. It will not fail. Okay, and neither of those supports is going to bond to the foot. You see how far away they are, nice and clean. So that's, when I take those off, you won't know they were there, and it's going to be a very clean looking foot. And this is what you're aiming for all over your model. So these techniques that you just saw right there, those are the techniques you just apply every single spot on the model. I click on the ball to edit it to change the angle a little bit. Now we've got a ton of islands on this model, right? There's a lot of work to do. All told, this model will take me about half an hour to 40 minutes to do, but it's well worth it if you want this thing to print out perfectly, right? And you only want to do it once. So I'm just mousing over, just checking various spots where I'm going to need supports. And again, I don't only support islands. I think that's a huge mistake. You have to look at a model and you have to ascertain what areas might be bearing weight, and then you don't want them to fail because of suction or pull off the other supports because of suction. So sometimes you add supports where technically someone might say, well, you don't need a support there, there's no island. So I support anything. I just eyeball the model and say, if I see an area that's going to be supporting a lot of other printed material, I'm going to support it. I'm going to make sure it doesn't fail. These little ridges, they most likely wouldn't fail anyway, but it doesn't hurt to support it. Oh, I had an extra one, get rid of it. What I want to do is edit this and pull it away from the model. I don't like the angle there. So let's pull it away from the model a little bit, change the angle, move the ball away so I can see better. And then I can always look and if I need to readjust the contact point or not. But it looks pretty good. Now I'm going to add some more supports. I don't need one there. I don't really need one there. But you won't see these areas, so adding one doesn't really hurt anything at all.
Hello， 大家好，我是阿达。那这次翻译系列，我决定将它分成上下两部，因为这部分它原片的长度来到了18分钟。那我觉得在一部影片里直接翻18分钟，感觉大家可能没办法一次看完，再加上翻译，我个人认为是蛮费时的，所以将它拆成两个部分，大家也可以比较早看到新的影片。对，那如果觉得这个系列实用的话，欢迎按赞、订阅、分享，因为做这影片真的是蛮累的。对，那我们下一个部分见，拜拜。